Hi, I'm Kate and I'm going to show you how to butterfly a leg of lamb. In front of me I've got a whole leg of lamb, and the idea is to remove the main central bone, and by doing so you can open the meat out and it will cook in less than half the time, and it's also great if you want to marinate that meat and perfect for cooking on the barbecue. Now, to give you an idea, the bone that runs through this leg of lamb looks like this. And this runs down the length of the leg, so it isn't straight. You've got a little angle to go round, which means you're going to have to take your time, and it might require a bit of practice. So to start off, one side of the lamb is very plump and has all the meat, and if I turn this over, the bone sits closer to the surface, and this is the side I want to start on. Now, a really good tip, under my board here, I have got a damp cloth, and the reason I've done that is to make sure that my board is sturdy on the work surface, so it's a bit safer. You're going to need a really sharp knife, ideally a boning knife. Be careful because it's going to be really sharp. So what I'm going to do is start by cutting down one side, not all the way through, just down the side of this bone to release it, and again down the other side. And then if I put my thumb just underneath, I'm trying to remove the meat so that this bone is released. And you can do that, if you like, by standing the meat up and very, very carefully just cutting down to release the end of the meat off the bone here. There we go. So as you can see, that bone is now exposed. So I'm going to lay it down again. And you can always trim these little bits off afterwards. The best way is literally to feel with your fingers. And we're only trying to go through the top part of the meat because we want to keep the fatter side of the meat intact so we can open it out. And the secret to doing anything like this, apart from practice, is to let your knife feel where the bone is and get as close as you can so that you don't waste any of that lovely meat. At this stage, what I want to do, and it is a case of just lifting it, manoeuvring it, whatever's easier, cutting downwards just against the bone. I'm cutting as much of the meat away as I go. And again, lay it down and just continue travelling up the meat a little bit more. And again, I'm feeling my way at the angle of that bone of where it travels. What's really useful is I can see this socket joint here from the lamb, so I know where it's going to end up, and it travels all the way around here on that slight curve. So at least I know which direction I'm going at. So if it helps, lift it up, as I say, and just cut down as close as you can to the bone as you go. You can actually buy joints of lamb that have already had the bone removed, but I actually think it's quite satisfying doing this. And you can see I'm actually taking my time to just cut round because I just don't want to waste any of this beautiful meat. But it's coming out. It's the last little cut here. So that's the bone out. And I think that's quite impressive. There's not too much meat left on that bone. Okay, so now the hard work has been done. We've removed the bone, and what we're left with is the whole leg of lamb, boneless. And as you can see on one side, it's much thicker than the other, so I need to even that out so that it will cook evenly. So if I turn it over, this is the end that we started at, and as you can see, there's also quite a bit of visible fat, which is quite easy to remove at this stage using a sharp knife. But don't forget, when you're roasting your joint, that fat's actually going to melt and give really good flavour. So I'm not going to cut too much off because I think this is really delicious, but just give it a bit of a trim there. And as we open it out, the middle is nice and even, but here there are natural seams to the meat, and I want to follow those seams, as you can see. I don't know if you can see that there. That's a natural divide in the meat. And if you just follow your knife along those seams, it's going to allow you to open it out, which is butterflying it basically. And just by doing incisions here, we can make sure that that's nice and even. And I'm quite happy that that's an even thickness, and that's all you're trying to achieve. So we just turn this over. And a joint like this is ready for flavouring, and I'd use finely chopped rosemary, maybe some lemon zest, olive oil and some salt and pepper, and it's ready to go. So there you have it, a butterfly leg of lamb.